Gym-wits, if you want to know the truth about fitness, from workout fads to diet myths, hitting pads, power lifts. Gym-wits, that's right. There's no guy out there wants bench tits, and we can't guarantee that you're gonna look great, but if you want to stay in shape, well, you better. Gym-wits. That's right, man.
Welcome to the Gym Wits Podcast, episode number 1. We are the Gym Wits. I'm Ryan George.
And I'm Justin Guild, a.k.a. ChefSonic, the author of that riveting theme you guys just heard.
And this is the podcast to discuss anything and everything fitness, from the obscure to the mainstream. We've got you covered. We want to be informative, entertaining, but most importantly, responsive. So if there's anything you want to discuss or you want to hear from us, please communicate with us on Facebook, Twitter, through the website, whatever you got to do.
You guys know what to do.
So I'm your resident fitness expert.
Always want to brag about yourself, right?
I've been in the industry for 12 years. I've done everything that you can in fitness. I've worked in management. I've been a personal trainer, group exercise. I've worked with a very diverse population of people, from all walks of life.
And don't forget the celebrity clients.
Yeah, there have been some celebrities and pro athletes, but for the most part, it's mostly just average, normal people like
me.
Like you and like most of the listeners, or hopefully the listeners of this show. But my clientele's been really from all walks of life, from all over the socioeconomic spectrum, from all over the athletic spectrum, from people who are coming off of major surgery and looking to just begin to walk again, to high-level athletes, and really everything in between. So I really believe in my time in the industry, I've gained a really good amount of knowledge, and this podcast is my opportunity to give back and to share that knowledge. What about you, Justin? Tell the listeners about your...
Well, once again, my name is Justin Guild, a.k.a. the ChefSonic. I'm a professional musician. I am not a fitness expert, nor work professionally in the fitness industry, but I have been involved in fitness now for a good 15 years. When I started lifting weights at the gym, and then I played baseball and football as a kid, and I wrestled in high school. And with most of the things that I did, I was always very average. I'm your average guy. I was a decent baseball player. I was an average wrestler. I won some, I lost some. After high school, I got into other martial arts, judo and jiu-jitsu, and just as you would expect, I was average. I won a little, I lost a little. I was smart, so I was able to leverage that a little bit to help me. But for the most part, as an athlete, I've always been very average. My body is very average, even though I've worked hard over the years. I have a very average body. I do not look chiseled like Ryan. I have a little bit of a gut, but I'm in very good health. For the most part, I look pretty good, and I'm happy with where I am. So I am the average guy. I'm like most of you out there. Most of you are not like Ryan, who has fantastic genetics. Most of you guys will be like me. Will be a decent athlete. Not great, not terrible at the same time, but you'll see how that can benefit you very much.
Yeah, and I think another important thing is we started together. So it was back in high school when I started working out. I think it was maybe sophomore year of high school, and I started lifting weights, took to it, and when we were out of the weight room, the person I called to say, hey, let's go get a gym membership was Justin. So throughout the time that I've been involved in fitness, Justin has kind of always been there in some capacity or another, whether it's a workout partner or a training partner. We have always had some interesting discussion on a variety of topics, including fitness. So when it came time to start this podcast, Justin's like the perfect co-host and perfect person to kind of bounce ideas off of and discuss this stuff with. So anyway, let's get into today's subject. So it's February, and as the cliche is in fitness, New Year's resolution, January 2nd, everybody's back in the gym. You walk in and you see people that you haven't seen in months. New people, that's a big time in the fitness industry. It has been like that ever since I've been in the industry. And even though everyone kind of knows about it, it hasn't changed. And what also hasn't changed is the fact that right around this time, about a month, 6 weeks in, those new faces all start to drop off. And it's common. Everyone knows it. And so today, what we really want to discuss is, why does that happen? And how can you approach fitness a little bit better so that when you do start, if you're not somebody who's, some of us are passionate. I'm passionate about fitness. Justin, even though fitness isn't your life or your career, it's something you've been involved in your entire life. It's part of your lifestyle. If you don't work out for a week, you feel it, and physically and mentally.
I've even had a doctor say to me, "Yeah, you need to be working out 5 to 6 times a week."
Yeah. So there are those who don't have that level of passion or just that level of commitment to fitness. So how do you get to that level? Or how do you at least just get to the level where you go every week and there's not that risk? So I think today's discussion really is going to be about what are the problems? Why is it that a lot of people right around this time of year start to fall off? Why can't they stay on the wagon? And how can you approach it better to make sure that you don't fall off? So the first question is, and I'll pose this one to you: why is it that people fall off the wagon? Why is it that it takes 4 or 6 weeks and then people just fall off and they can't continue with their fitness programs?
Well, it's like with most things in life, people want results and they want things to be fun and easy. Very similar to when I teach a guitar lesson. For the first couple months, students will see fast results and they'll get good, and then things will get more difficult, and that's when they fall off inevitably. And it's the same thing with fitness. You might see fast results, and I always like to say this about products that they say, "Oh, guaranteed results in the first 4 to 6 weeks, or your money back," right? You're always going to see that because they're telling you the truth. You will see results within the first 4 to 6 weeks, because if you're not doing anything and then you do anything, whether it's Zumba or running, yoga, some sort of all-in-one weight machine, it's going to work and you're going to see results. And then inevitably after that, your body's going to adjust and your results are going to taper off and things are going to get much harder. Now, this is where it has to be part of your lifestyle if you want it to continue. You need to incorporate it into your life. It has to be a part of your daily plan or weekly plan, depending on how many times you can get it and depending on your work. It has to be worked in, and you have to realize that there's going to be certain goals that you can achieve, certain goals that you can't, and there's a time frame, and it's really mixing it in and having that mindset to make it happen.
Yeah, no, and I think you hit on a few good points in that. I think one of the important things, I think, is the media plays a role in a lot of this. Media products, when you're looking at TV, whether it's The Biggest Loser or 8-Minute Abs or whatever product you see, they're trying to sell you something. And for most of us, we live in a culture that is about instant gratification, and it's the same thing when it comes to fitness results. So there is that aspect of it where if you don't get immediate results, or if your fast results slow down, there's a frustration that comes with that. And that frustration can lead to not wanting to go to the gym because it's just not worth it. I'm not seeing anything. But then that ties into, a larger issue of the kind of perception of fitness, what it is to be fit and what it is to acquire fitness or acquire the body that you want, and the reality of what it takes to actually get that. And I think that's a major issue with anyone starting. I think it's easy to say, I want that body, or I want to be able to run faster, or I want to run a marathon, I want to do this or that. And actually, marathoning is a great example. In my career, one of the more common things that happens every year, at least with a couple people, is right after the New York City Marathon, I'll get a couple people that are going to say, hey, I'm really excited. I saw the marathon, or I watched it, or a friend ran the marathon, or whatever the case is. I want to do it next year. And my response, at first I was all into it. The first time that happened, I was like, oh yeah, definitely. I can get you ready for it. We got a year. We'll totally do it. But that dies down because there's that excitement. There's that initial excitement. And then the reality sets in of actually what it takes. And if you're not mentally prepared for it, you're not going to be able to sustain it. And there's a part of with anyone starting anything fitness related, you have to understand what you're in for and what it's going to take and how it's going to affect your life. And if you don't take those things into account, then the minute there's an obstacle, you're going to trip over that obstacle, and it's going to be very hard to recover from it. And then you fall into that cycle.
It's funny, I was at a dinner the other day, and a girl at the table said, "Oh, I just signed up for New York Sports Club for whatever decent price it was per month." And I said, "Oh, well, for that price, I could get you a pair of dumbbells and get you in shape better than the results that you're gonna get from the gym." And she kind of chuckled at it and was like, "Well, why, why is that?" And I'm saying, because you're simply not going to use your membership. You're going to use it for the first couple weeks, maybe, and then you're going to realize, wow, this is difficult, or this is something that doesn't fit into my life. So I'm just going to, I'm just going to forget about it. I'm just going to pay the membership. It's amazing that gyms actually rely on that. They want you to sign up on New Year's. They want you to have the resolution because they know that you're not going to continue. That's how they make their money. You think they can make their money by having a million people at their gym and overcrowded? No, that's not what they're hoping for. They're hoping for that you sign up, you pay your monthly membership, or preferably a year. That's why they really want to sign you up for a year or 2, 3 years or whatever it is, because they know you're not going to come, and that's the important fact. And and if you do show up, great. That's then it looks good for them because there's people in their gym. So it's an interesting business model. We'll get into that.
Yeah, that's a whole podcast in itself. The business model in fitness, and it's definitely a legitimate thing. I think most gyms have to rely on the fact that not every usage is going to be at a small percentage, whether it's 50% or 40%. But if you have 100% usage of any fitness facility, it would be impossible to get around. But But then why does that happen? And there's another. You touched on something in the discussion with her in your kind of condescending way of telling her that
I can be like that sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm the cynical one.
Yeah, well, but it's true, and I think that it touches on something. This is an interesting topic. On another podcast, one of my favorite podcasts, the Cracked podcast, they talked about this idea that it's funny. I never thought about it until hearing it, but it makes perfect sense, and it applies to fitness. And that's that. Every minute of your life is valuable. Everything you do has some level of value. And if you don't exercise when you decide to exercise, whether it's an hour a week or 2 hours a week or 5 hours a week, you're taking away from something else in your life. And if you don't see the value in fitness, and if you're not willing to part with whatever you're going to give up because you're going to focus on exercise, whether it's drinking or food or even extra hour of sleep that it's going to take. If you don't have the right balance of valuing fitness versus understanding what you're giving up, it's really easy again to fall into that trap that the minute that it starts to be tough on you, and the minute that you start to doubt yourself or doubt the program or doubt exercise, it's really easy to give in to that and fall into the bad habits and fall out of the exercise program.
I think another important aspect is that fitness, or at least how it's sold, is supposed to be fun and exciting, and kind of it brings you in, and you work out with other people, or you're pushing hard, and you're feeling the burn. But really, even though I find it fun, I find it very entertaining. I love working out or training or whatever it is, and so does Ryan. Most people do not find it fun, and for the most part, fitness is not fun. It's work, and people see it as work. I often get asked, well, why would you want to go on your day off to the gym? Isn't it your day off? And I don't see it that way. I see it as, this is something I want to do in my free time. And I think that that's a really important aspect. If people can find a way to enjoy what they're doing. And most people don't. Most people see it as work. They're like, oh, I want to get in the gym and get out. Right? That's how they view it. And maybe I spend a little too much time in the gym because I enjoy it. Maybe I could be, maybe I can get in, or maybe not, waste time there. It's something that it's a little bit of a bad habit. Sometimes I'll like to chat with people, or, I enjoy being there. I enjoy the atmosphere, and but a lot of people don't, and people see it as work. And I think that that's so important. If you can find a way, maybe it's finding the right activity or the right fitness goal or the means to get there. I feel that's really important to find something you enjoy, whether it's martial arts, if you really enjoy rock climbing or something like that. Find something you enjoy, and that will make so much of a difference, because then it won't feel like work.
I agree with that. There has to be a level of, I don't want to say enjoyment or fun, but if you can find something fun, then that's ideal. So I think one of the more important things for anybody, if you're going to make it your lifestyle, and if it's going to be something that you're going to incorporate into your life, it does have to be tolerable at a minimum, and fun or enjoyable if you can. And there are a lot of different ways to make that fun. So it might be an activity or a sport. You might want to start boxing. You might start jujitsu or something that's going to get, that will engage you in a way physically that you really enjoy engaging. It might be a certain type of a class. It might be the atmosphere of, in certain group exercise classes I teach, it's really like almost a family setting. Like everyone knows each other. They know what's going on in each other's lives. They're all friends. They motivate each other. So you might need a specific setting like that. Or you might need an atmosphere where you have someone, it's like a boot camp where they're screaming at you. Or you might need something that is very relaxed. So I think there is an aspect to fitness and to being in the gym that you have to find something that you can handle, that you can tolerate, that you can see yourself doing for an extended period of time. Because if you do hate exercise, if you absolutely abhor exercise, it's going to be really hard to do it if you're in that moment of weakness where you don't want to do it. So there's got to be something that is engaging and that does make you kind of look forward to it. There definitely has to be that aspect. And I think one of the ways that you can keep going on a fitness program is in addition to really understanding what it takes, is kind of finding an activity or finding something that is, like I said, is tolerable and possibly fun. If you can make.
So, all right. I have, I have worked out on and off for years. I'm kind of like your average schlub that, it's New Year's and I'm making the resolution, all right, this is the year I want to get back into it. How do I set my goals? How do I get myself in the right mindset? And how do I know how to apply it to my life? I know those are perhaps three distinct answers. Even though I know they tie together. How do I set my goal? How do I prepare myself to get into this new thing and make it something that lasts, and not something that's just going to fall off like it's done for me in the past?
Sure, there are a lot of a few steps to take for that. So let's say, okay, we accept you understand. All right, I know that it's going to take work. I know that it's not going to be a super fast result, or it might be a fast result. It really depends. But I think it does come. First step is goals. So you have to determine, what are my goals. So that's the first part, and why do I have these goals, and what am I willing to do to attain the goal? So I think that's an important, those are three very distinct and very important things. So let's say, for example, if the goal is I want to be ripped like the guy on Muscle and Fitness, okay, great. Why do you have that goal? If there's no reason why, it's very hard to attain that goal. So I just see that in general. You need a reason. There's got to be a motivator. Whether it could be something like it's a wedding, or I have a photo shoot, or I'm going to go to I'm going to Cancun in 6 months and I just want to look great. Whatever the goal is, there has to be a reason why, and then you have to understand what's it going to take. So it's going to take, to look like that guy on Muscle and Fitness, it's going to take a significant amount of dieting, a significant amount of time in the gym, both cardio and weight training, possible other supplementation, but it takes a lot of work. So then you have to ask yourself, am I willing to do that? Am I willing to put in that work? And do I see myself 3 months down the line still putting in that effort, still eating perfectly and going to the gym all the time and working hard? And if that's unrealistic, then you have to take a step back and say, okay, well, what is reasonable? What am I willing to do to attain whatever the goal is?
All right, so we've decided to take a step back. We realize, all right, I'm not going to look like a professional fitness model or a bodybuilder, and I've just decided maybe I am in my late 20s, early 30s, or maybe I've just rounded 40 or something like that. So I'm still healthy. I'm still able to do a lot of activities, and I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I want to live longer. I just want to drop a few pounds. I want to be in shape. I want my heart in better condition. And I know that it's going to be tough, and I can tell myself now, okay, I'm going to work hard. I'm going to achieve this. But I've been in it now. I've done it for 3 months now, and I've seen some good goals, but now it's starting to get harder, and I'm not noticing the same results that I first did. And now I'm on the fence, and I just, I'm tired. I have had a really tough work week, and I just want to stay home, and I just want to drink beer and watch the game, even though I know I should be going. Like, how do I break past that?
Breaking past that, well, you have to value fitness and understand that how important fitness is to your life, to yourself. moving forward, especially as you get older.
No, but I've put in the work, and now I'm not seeing the results anymore like I first did.
Then it's a matter of figuring out what's different. Has anything changed? If you're working the same you've been working, then you might need to work a little bit harder as you get older. Especially for men, your testosterone level drops, so that means that you have to put in that much more work to get that, to get the little bit of results that you'd be getting. So if your goal is to still get results, part of that does mean you're gonna have to work a little bit harder. You can't do the same thing. Your body adapts the body is a great machine, and it adapts to stimulus and activity very quickly. So if you have the same workout program for months at a time, for years at a time, your body just adapts to it. So in order to make any progress, you do have to either change something or make things harder, which may or may not be something that you're willing to do or that you want to do. But if your goal is to make progress, you have to work harder. And I think part of the challenge is understanding that and knowing moving forward, this is what I want. Now, another thing that helps with that. So let's say you've accepted, okay, I have a goal. I've been struggling. I have a goal. I want this thing. I want to look a certain way. And it doesn't have to be extreme. It could be lose 5 pounds. I want to put on a couple pounds of muscle, be a little bit more fit, drop a pant size. Nothing, no, it's not an extreme goal. I think another important aspect is having some way of measuring your results. So you want to, assessing and reassessment become a very important thing. And one of the things that I found most successful with my own clients has been, you do an assessment. So where am I at? What's the assessment going to be? Whether it's weight or measurements or body fat or whatever it is. Pant size. Again, you can use a whole bunch of measurements. You can use one measurement. But then checking every 4 or 6 weeks to see how you're progressing. So this gives you something to look forward to, which is really important in life. Having things to look forward to really motivate you. So if you just are working out kind of aimlessly, and there's not that motivation. But if you're working out knowing, okay, in 4 months, I'm going to check my waist size, and you're excited about that. There's a goal, there's a drive, there's something to look for, something to look forward to. And so I've definitely found that one of the most important things, especially if you want results, is you got to check yourself, and you have to constantly see how you're progressing and use that as a form of motivation, as something to tangible almost to use to motivate yourself and to move forward towards.
Last week I went to the gym and I had prepared myself. I was tired, but I got myself there. I drank an energy drink. I did what I had to do, and I sat down. I did the bench, and I got up like 4 reps of one plate on each side, and it really drained me. And then this guy just came next to me, just basically tossed on the weight, threw it up, then threw on more plates, and it's as if I worked so hard to do that, and this guy just sat down next to me, who I always see there, and he just, he did it. It's almost as if what I did was a joke to him, even though, he supported me. He might have even helped spot me and said, "Good job." But then when he lifted, it was like nothing to him. It feels like he could have done it. He could have done 1,000,000 reps, and for me, I could just barely get up 5.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. I find that a lot. The gym is a weird place. It's very easy to be self-conscious in the gym, no matter how. Even at my most fit, you see that person who's a little bit bigger than you, or a little bit more cut, or in my case, who's a little bit faster or can kick a little bit better, and it can damage the ego a little bit, and it can be frustrating seeing that. It's a challenge. You have to the competition's within yourself. I know it sounds a little cheesy to say that, but the focus should be on you and where are you now versus where you were 3 weeks ago or 3 months ago, and where are you now versus where you want to be in 3 months. And I think that always has to be the competition, because there's always going to be somebody who's in better shape. There's always going to be somebody who's bigger, who's faster, who's stronger, who's better looking. There are very few people that are at the top of that kind of totem pole when it comes to that. And I think it's very easy to get into this mindset of competing with the person next to you. And it's a tough one, and it's easier to say than to do, but you have to kind of focus on yourself. And that's where assessments help, because if you see that you've lost 3 inches on your waist since the last time you measured, that's motivating, because you know that you're better than you were before. Actually, an interesting thing I've started, and it's a way to tangibly kind of see yourself, is I've been into 3D printing for a little while, and I've started 3D scanning. And so one of the things we do is doing a 3D scan of somebody before and after. And so that way you can kind of tangibly see yourself how you were 3 months ago versus how you are now. So now your competition is literally with yourself. You can see two figures of yourself before and after. And, that's where the competition lies. Because again, you might have a goal. I want to be as strong as that guy. And that's great. But again, we go back to, you have to understand what it's going to take to get to be as strong as that guy. But again, the competition has to be internal and not an external competition.
No, I see. Maybe I've lifted weights. I've done the standard exercises for a few months now, and I heard someone say that doing cross training and doing different styles of exercises can really help. And you even mentioned that varying your routine can help. But where do I find out about these exercises? I see people doing these jumps and they throw this medicine ball, but I feel like I'm going to get injured if I do that. I don't really know how. I'm not a fitness professional. I don't know how to do these exercises, even though I think I would like to do that sort of stuff. It looks fun, but I don't know how to do these, I guess I could look online, but, I don't know if I trust just anything I see online. How do I find out to do these different variety of exercises that I see a lot of people doing at the gym?
That's actually a very good question and interesting.
Can I just trust any trainer? Should I get a trainer? Is that the right?
That's the thing. So you have two separate issues that are almost subjects in and of themselves. There's the subject of the internet. The internet is this amazing, open access to so much information, but at the same time, so much misinformation.
Plus I see this guy throwing this medicine ball and jumping up, but he looks like he is in tremendous shape. It's like, I feel like I could get injured if I do that.
Well, and you might. I mean, it really depends on your condition and what you're doing. That's a very good question. I think that, it's always good to go with a trainer. It's just a matter of going with somebody who knows what they're doing, who's knowledgeable, and it can be a challenge. I'm not going to lie. I mean, having been in the industry, I've been around in facilities that have some great trainers that have, great knowledge base, as well as trainers that don't, and you see people getting injured. I think when it comes to going online, there are some very reputable sources, like Human Kinetics is a great publisher that publishes fitness books, and they tend to have things that are great, but those also are more geared towards the people within the fitness industry, more towards trainers, and there are great resources online. I'll leave some on the website for the podcast. It's a matter of doing your research and progression. I think progression is probably the biggest key. So if you see someone doing some crazy jumping, spinning exercise with a ball, that's great, and maybe you can do it, but there should be a way to progress up to that. And so part of it is finding, okay, how can I regress that to one movement? So maybe it's a squat and pushing a medicine ball, and then you add a jump, and then you add on until you get to that thing. So with anything you do, it's like with music. When you teach somebody, when you're teaching someone who's just learning to play the guitar, you're going to teach them step by step. First, they have to learn the notes, and then they have to learn chords, and then they have to learn progressions, and et cetera, until they're playing full songs and putting things together and being more creative. So I think there is, an aspect of progression to anything. So the same thing applies whether you're looking online or whether you meet with a trainer. If you meet with a trainer that immediately has you bouncing all over the place, then they're probably not doing something right. So you want to find out, and a question to ask a trainer is, how would you get me to do that? And they should be able to progress you to that point and to guide you step by step. But it is a challenge because there's so much information out there, and being someone in the industry, there's a lot of misinformation. So it is difficult to figure out what should I listen to, what should I not listen to.
Now, one of my ways that I've always believed in with my very average self is that a little something is better than no something. So if I have a chance when I'm on my own, if I can't get to the gym, it's just either the gym is closed for whatever reason, or the weather's terrible, I just can't get there, or I don't have the time, I have to work, and I just have a little bit of time, and I'm at home. Personally, I will do I have a couple dumbbells, and I can do some squats on my own. I have a few different exercises that I can do. But what can, and I think this is an issue for a lot of people, they do their gym routine, but for whatever reason, maybe they're traveling. they're on the road, or their gym's closed. They just can't make it there, and they still feel that, well, maybe they can work out. Is there something they can do from home without, it's not their permanent workout, but here or there to supplement their normal routine, something that they can do at home to to enhance their other general workouts?
Two answers to that. So first, yes, fitness is about being efficient, and more research is coming out now that when it comes to exercise, it's about being efficient with your time and effort. So the harder you work, the less time you have to put in. And so if you're limited on time and even on resources, there's a lot you can do with really nothing. You can do a lot of exercises with your body weight. You can do a lot of exercises in 10 minutes. You can get a full workout. It's just a matter of putting the work in. So I think, to answer your question, yes, if you're at home, there are so many body weight push-ups, squats.
How do I find out
lunges. So that's the second answer to my question. So just to finish off, on that thought, there's a lot that you can do without having to be in a gym. To answer that, I have a book out, and I don't know if you're directing me towards that, but one of the things, I do have a book. It's called, a long title, the Door Frame Pull Up Workout, and I think there's even more stuff. But you can look up my name, Ryan George. It's on Amazon.com. You can walk into Barnes and Noble and pick it up. And beyond me trying to sell my book, which would be great if you buy it, it's all based around exercises you can do with the pull-up bar. Whether it's at home or in a gym or in any setting. Now, you don't have to be able to do pull-ups. There are tons of exercises in it. There are lots of workouts geared towards whether it's strength or building some muscle or losing fat or conditioning or athletic training. There's a section on developing up to doing pull-ups, but there are lots of modifications. And so for that book, you can get a full workout in the comfort of your home. And all you need is your body weight, and a pull-up bar. And even if you don't have a pull-up bar, there's tons of stuff to do, even without that. But yeah, there's, fitness is, it's accessible to anybody, and exercise is accessible to anybody. It's just a matter of putting the work in.
Now, what about this explosion of workout at home videos? My girlfriend, who just despises going to the gym, she has this Denise Austin DVD, and then she got the full set of the what's that guy, Shaun T.
Yeah.
I don't think she got the full Insanity. She got the fast one that he does, or the 30-minute workout. And now, do those do anything? And I know, once again, within the first month they're going to do something, but are those videos a sustainable option?
Yeah, it goes back to what we were talking about. You have to find something that works for you. So the only challenge with a video, like with videos and things like that, is really the consistency, staying off of boredom. So after a while, if you're doing the same workout, something's got to change. So part of it is motivating yourself to work harder. So if that video gets you excited, and if watching Shaun T sweating and moving all over the place, if that energy gets you energetic, then that's going to work for you. It's just that you have to keep putting the work in, and that if things get reach a kind of status quo, reach a point where you're not improving or you're not working harder, you got to find something to make it harder. So, anything can work. The elliptical machine can work, but oftentimes, and that's a good example, is, you can get on an elliptical and you just start moving, you move your legs, you move your arms, and you just find a pace. And I see it all the time. People are on it and they're reading a newspaper, or they're on their iPad, and they're just moving. They're not really, they're not exercising because they're not really working hard enough. They're not getting the heart rate up to a point where they're really making benefits fitness-wise. So on the flip side, you can see someone elliptical and they're going hard and they're pushing themselves and they're sweating and they're working. So, with any modality, whether it's a video or a machine or working out at home, there's a part of it where you have to work. And if you don't put the work in, you're not going to get the results necessarily that you want. It's better than sitting on your couch doing nothing, but if you want to lose 30 pounds and you just get on the elliptical and you're just moving and you're not sweating, you're not going to lose the weight that you want. So with any modality has a potential to work, but the person applying it has to put the work in order for that to be effective.
So probably my biggest issue, and I've accepted it and I'm okay with it, is for me, my diet. I love to eat, and nothing makes me more hungry than working out really hard. So my diet is pretty good. It's not great. I know that if I was more strict with my diet, that I would probably have a better, I would have a better looking body. I know that I would, but I've accepted that. I'm okay with my level of fitness, and I know that I found a balance between my diet where I'm healthy a good amount of the time. Then I eat a lot of what I want, and I'm able to do that and sort of look the same and still be fit. But I know not everyone is able to do that. And when you worked out hard, the tendency is, oh, well, now I want to go have a bacon cheeseburger and fries. How do I sort of work around that? And now I'm not going to be eating grilled chicken and lettuce all the time. I don't have that dedication. So how do I find a balance of being somewhat healthy? Because I don't need to go on a diet, a real diet, but I need to just change a few things up so that I'm healthier. What can I lose that won't be so painful or such a shock to my system, and then eventually over time I can wean off other types of food? Like, what can I do to have a reasonable goal with diet in mind?
So first, the disclaimer is I'm not a registered dietitian, and when it comes to nutrition advice, there's some basic things. There are basic principles you can follow. We will have. I've got a good friend. Yes, yeah. Again, another podcast, but no, it's good. There, I do have a good friend who's a registered dietitian, and we will have this discussion a little bit more in depth, because it's one of those things where you want to. Where I'm an expert on certain things fitness related, I'm not an expert on diet. I've dealt with a lot of clients.
You've had to diet yourself. You've had to cut weight.
Diet, yeah, which is like one of the no-nos, one of those extreme things. But yeah, I mean, there's some simple rules that if you follow, it's just, consistency in your diet is important. And finding a habit that works for you, and that is always the biggest challenge. Is if you have a consistent plan, then when you stray from it, you can come back to it. If things are chaotic with anything, then when you stray, it's harder to come back because you don't have structure to come back to. So there's got to be structure that's based on your life. And it's easy for me to say to somebody, all right, you need to eat X, Y, and Z at these times throughout the day, and this is what you got to do. But that's not realistic. So you have to kind of figure out, okay, what works? Do you eat out all the time? Do you cook? Can you bring food with you? What can you do to create structure around your life? And that way you're not making the biggest issue I see with people nutrition wise is making decisions in the moment. So you just said you're really hungry after a workout. So what happens? You had a really tough workout, you're done, you're in the locker, you showered, you're ready, now I'm hungry. What am I going to go eat? And all you can think about is that bacon cheeseburger and the fries. Well, before you got to the gym, you should have thought, okay, what am I going to have today? When I'm done working out, I'm going to go get whatever it is, whether it is a bacon cheeseburger, whatever. Those decisions should be made when you're not hungry, because if you make those decisions when you're hungry, it's always, I have the same problem. In fact, just before I got here, I was really hungry and I got a bacon cheeseburger and fries from like the Dairy Queen. So it wasn't even like a good bacon cheeseburger, but again, it was I wasn't prepared. And so preparation and consistency and structure when it comes to diet, even beyond the specifics of the what should I eat and how much protein and carbs and all that stuff, beyond that, the most important decision you can make is to create structure. And like I said, to make your decisions when you're not hungry, because that way it's established, it's set in stone. If I'm going to have grilled chicken and some brown rice and whatever, some spinach, that's what I'm going to have after I work out. You go work out, in your mind you've made that decision. You don't have to make. Now you might change your mind, but you're much less likely to if you've already made that decision prior to. So that's probably
it's a good point.
First piece of advice. And again, we'll discuss this more in depth when we're talking with a dietitian, but
It's a really good point, because when I have the plan of, I'm going to make this food, then I generally don't crave something else. Exactly. It's in my mind. And if Ryan's not an expert, then I'm well. But you actually can listen to me, because I think I have some decent ideas. I've gotten into preparing my own food, and just one little tidbit that I would have to offer is to not deprive yourself of satisfying foods, but find a way to make the satisfying foods a little bit healthier. So one thing that I've done is I've cut out so much of the fried foods, but I'll still eat something like a potato. Potatoes are not the enemy, but the way they're prepared is really can be really devastating. So I'll have maybe a baked potato or something along those lines, or rice or something. Like, I don't believe in giving up carbohydrates, which a lot of people will preach. I don't believe in that. I cannot function without carbohydrates. I've done it before. I've tried. So that's something that I'll do. Or if I really want a burger, I won't, maybe I won't get a bacon cheeseburger, but I will get I'll go and buy very nice quality beef, and I'll be satisfied with that, because the overall quality of food will be better, so I'll be satisfied with that. That's just a little something that I do, and it might not work for everyone, but I try to eat similar satisfying foods in a healthier, more high quality fashion.
Yeah, well, that's true. I did that with Nutella. I love, who doesn't love Nutella, but and you can find this on my website, and I'll post this on the podcast website as well. But I started making cold oatmeal, and so what it catches that Nutella thing, because what I'll do with the oatmeal is I'll put some chocolate chips and some crushed hazelnuts in with the cold oatmeal, and that gives me that little bit of that hazelnut and chocolatey thing. But instead of like loading up Nutella on a crepe, and I'm horrible like when I make crepes with Nutella, it's not like you get when you go to like, the crepe place where they just put a little bit. Like I'll put like a quarter like of a jar of Nutella on a couple of crepes. But yeah, that's a great point. You kind of find a way to make a healthier slant on things that you do. But you might be somebody who doesn't prepare food, and so then it's a matter of again, just being prepared and making your decisions as far in advance of you being hungry as you can.
All right, so what do you? All right, I think we've discussed quite a bit. Just so for anyone that just might want a concise version of it. So what I've made my resolution. I'm going to do this. What are the things to keep in mind as a summary that I can take home? Something that I can also remember, because oftentimes, and me especially, when I get bombarded with too much information, I only remember what I want to remember. So if things are presented in a way that I can actually remember and apply it, then I'm going to be more. There's a better chance that I'm going to follow it. So could you just sum up for me, what we have to do?
Yeah, that's actually a good question. So it's funny, when I was creating my website, I had come up with some acronyms. I was so stupid. But I actually came up with one that was actually really good and made perfect sense, which was just create. Right. And so the C would be consistency. That's probably the most important thing with anything fitness wise, really anything in life is being consistent. Realistic. So again, we discussed this, you have to have a realistic goal. If it's unrealistic, or if it's something that's not attainable for you, it's not going to last. So sometimes it may even mean taking a step back and saying, okay, maybe I can't look like that guy in Muscle and Fitness, but I can look pretty good. You have to have a realistic goal, or you might have a photo shoot and you have to look like that guy. That's fine, but you have to understand what it takes. Which then goes into the next one, which is evaluate. So you have to evaluate what your goals are. Are they reasonable? Are they not reasonable? And really sit back and understand what you want and what it's going to take to get that, and are you willing to do that? The other part, assess, and then kind of combine with that is reassess. So that you want to have some kind of basic baseline assessment of where you're at, and then reassess every now and then to see where you are versus where you were. And if you haven't made progress, then that's fine. Just make some changes to make progress. And if you're making progress, great. Keep going in that direction. And then the last two, we didn't really talk much about today, but these really deal with exercise, specifically with being in the gym, and that's technique. So when you're exercising, it's really important that your technique is good, that your form is good. The easiest way to fall off a fitness program is get injured. You injure yourself, you're not using the proper technique, you get hurt, you can't work out. Built-in excuse. You can't do it. So to have proper technique and execution. So it's just whatever your program is. Once you've sat down, you figure everything out, is just execute whatever it is. Stay focused, kind of stay on point, and that's it. Really, I mean, that's what it takes. It's not as hard as it sounds. It just takes a little bit of effort and understanding of what you're doing. All right, so now we're going to introduce a segment called ChefSonic's I Smell BS. So Justin, in addition to being a musical chef, as he likes to call himself. He's also a skeptic, especially when it comes to the fitness industry, and he has quite a nose for some of the BS marketing products and schemes within fitness. So, Justin, what's on the menu for today?
Okay, so on the menu today, we have a program that I first saw advertised on television in an infomercial, and then I did a little research online, and I checked out some aspects of the program, and it's called the 21-Day Fix. And it was created by a very nice-looking young lady named Autumn Calabrese, something like that. And it makes claims that if you use the program, you will lose a significant amount of weight in 21 days. And it also makes claims that it's rather painless due to its diet plan that is not restrictive. And basically it's this. There are a bunch of containers that are given to you, and of course very cheap containers that you could purchase at the container store or something like that. And each container is assigned a food that you can put in it. So you'll have carbs, fats, proteins, stuff like that. And if the food can physically fit in the container, you are allowed to eat it. So every day you have a certain number of containers that you are allowed to put food in, and if you can eat, if the food can fit in the container physically, you can eat it, and it also allows you maybe a glass of wine per day or something like that as well. And it makes claims that you'll never go hungry, and that it's a very, it always provides you with the proper portion, so you're going to lose weight based on portion control, which is very important in the diet and fitness industry. The other aspect of it is the exercise program, which I checked out, and it's just very run-of-the-mill, group class, gym class workouts, like a gym core class, an aerobics class, some sort of, low-level yoga class, stuff like that. That you would find at any gym, or that you could see a billion videos on YouTube. So Ryan, based on what you've seen, why don't you talk a little bit about the diet and a little bit of the fitness aspects of the program?
Well, it's actually a brilliant idea, because it's essentially taking a very well-established protocol or program and kind of remixing it or reinventing it. And what I'm talking about is Weight Watchers, in my experience since I've been training, has probably been the most effective or the most successful weight loss program for people long term. Like, I've definitely seen a lot of great results from people, whether it's my own clients or people that I've talked to or met over the years that have had success with Weight Watchers. And Weight Watchers basically takes food and turns each item or each type of food into a certain amount of points. And you're left with a certain number of points you can have per day, and you don't want to go over that number of points. So this system is essentially a simplified version of that. Instead of points where you have to count things up, you just cram as much stuff as you can or whatever you can into the different boxes, and that's what you can have for the day, and that's it. So it's basically the Weight Watchers idea of eat whatever you want, but you only have so much. There's a certain threshold you can't pass, and it's doing the same exact thing. So I think, practically speaking, it actually works, but it's not. And it's nothing new. It's not reinventing the wheel. It's essentially Weight Watchers, but using...
Well, it is reinventing the wheel.
I guess so. But it's essentially Weight Watchers with containers. And yeah, I mean, it's something you can do on your own pretty simply, or you can spend, whatever, $39.99.
I think it's $60.
$60, okay, whatever. So you spend $60 for some containers that essentially, and it does most of the work for you, I guess.
Now, what about the fitness aspects? Is it anything that you haven't seen or?
No, not really. I mean, again, I have a hard time criticizing anybody that's trying to help people, help people or make money.
Help people are trying to make money.
We'll see. But yeah, I mean, anything that's going to get you exercising. So if it works, great. There's nothing spectacular or nothing. Again, it's not anything new or that we haven't seen or that's not there that you can't get in a class in a gym or you can't get on your own or you can't get on any number of other fitness videos. But if you want kind of an all-in-one type of thing where you get your diet and your exercise and all that in one package and you're happy with the way the instructor teaches, then yeah, sure, I guess it works.
Okay, so as with most products, theoretically they work well. So this is where I start to smell BS. Mm-hmm. first, let's look at the way it's advertised. And sometimes the advertising is the most important aspect of any fitness concept, of any fitness product, because it's, that's how they're selling it. First off, it's advertised by a very attractive woman.
Okay.
Right? That plays into it. Let's face it, it does. Her co-host was an older man, also a good-looking guy and seemingly fit. And it's with plenty of bright colors and stuff, and audience members that are smiling and happy and just gushing about how this product worked and how it saved their lives and how it made this great change in their lives. So, and that's just common infomercial stuff that we've seen now for 30 years. So, probably the biggest issue that I have with it is that it makes claims over a 3-week period. So it's supposed to work fast, and most likely it will give you results in the first 3 weeks. That's all great, but what about after that? Now, it says that there is some online support that that you can turn to, or something, which I actually think is probably the best aspect of it, is that there is some sort of system that helps you keep going with it. That's actually my favorite part, is that there is online support. You can watch some videos. They might be able to point you in the direction of a coach or an online coach that can also help you with it. I don't know if it costs extra. I never checked out that part of it, but that's actually the nicest aspect of it. So here's the deal. You do the program, right? You lose 10 pounds or something like that, which is very possible because, as we know, if you're not dieting or working out at all, if you make any change, you're going to see great results. You always see fast results no matter what the program is. So now, what about after that? Do you just keep with the program for the rest of your life? Is that a practical approach for living? What about when you've done these exercises and you've gotten used to them and they start getting boring? What if you start plateau? What if the exercises are easy for you? How can you just be sustained with 5 exercise videos for the rest of your life? Now, do you go back and continue the program when you need to? Is it something that could just work like that? It seems just a little impractical, and it seems like it can work in the short term, but in the long term, unless it's something you're going to stick with for the rest of your life, which just doesn't seem very practical in this day and age, then that is the major shortcoming.
Well, it's fitness. I wouldn't begrudge them or anyone trying to create some kind of a program that works for an indefinite or a finite kind of period of time. So I actually have an issue with the 21 days, but my issue is a little bit different. So sure, there are any number of ways that you can progress. And again, let's make clear that this is not a review of the product. We haven't actually tried the product. We've done our research. We've read some blogs, and we've looked at some reviews, of which I know you have some opinions on as well. But based on what we saw, I'm going to assume that maybe there's a level 2, let's say, of videos, or that she has more. Let's just assume that there are more things on the way, right? Even if we forget the exercise part, let's say that there is a whole progression of exercise that lasts 5 years, whatever the case is, that's not as big a deal because you're going to have to change things up eventually. And again, that's not a big concern. I think the bigger concern is actually calling it the 21-day fix. That implies that you'll get the results you want in 21 days. And really when you really sit down and go look at the infomercials or go through the website, it essentially is just a 21-day cycles. So she'll mention, or the videos will mention, that how many cycles people have gone through. Because when you look at, it does
say with a lot of people that have lost significant weight, in the very small letter at the bottom, it says done after multiple cycles.
So that's the thing, is if you're going to call it the 21-day fix, but and it does an interesting thing where they'll show people and their results over 21 days, which is minor. I mean, you can get some results, but you're not going to get significant. So they don't go the crazy route of like, look at this person who lost 50 pounds in 21 days. They're not doing that. The people that they show 21 days worth of results are pretty modest. It's nothing spectacular, but perfectly fine. The people who have the significant results, they do at least say this person's gone through X number of cycles, but then But then why call it that? That's misleading to me. So it's a little misleading to call something the 21-day fix, because that, again, implies to me that in 21 days, we will fix what your problem is. But that's not the case. It's the 21-day cyclical program, the 21-day indefinite cyclical program. Just that part, I think, bothers me more than sustainability. At the end of the day, there's a lot that can be done and a lot of issues with sustainability when it comes to fitness programming, and that's a big part of why I've had a job for a very long time. And it's a big thing within fitness. How do you keep people accountable? How do you keep people going? So I don't really begrudge them for not hashing that out, because that's something that's hard for anybody to hash out. But I think, again, it's just the misleading title that bothers me.
So what bothers me the most about it is not the product itself, even though you're basically paying $60 for something that you could pay a couple dollars at a store and watch the same videos online. But what bothers me is some of the marketing, and especially when you look online, I found a bunch of quote reviews. And when you go to the website, I'm gonna check out one right now. It makes claims that this is a legitimate review site. It has like an author page. There's actually a few of them. It has all the social media there, but when you look at it, all it is an advertisement for the product. It's not a real review. It just goes over exactly what is in the in the original website. And I did look in the comments section, and there was one just one magical comment from someone saying, "Oh, this is what I recommend to use," and then the other comment was from the administrator. Now, I also checked out another review website which was very similar, and the once again, checking out right here, it it makes a claim that it makes a claim that it's from an author, but when you click on the about author site, it just links you right back to the page you were on, which is basically an advertisement for the product itself. So there are a whole bunch of these, which makes me believe that this product is writing fake reviews for itself, which really doesn't sit well with me. I feel that if the product really could stand on its own legs, it wouldn't need to do this. And I know that everyone is doing stuff like that. It's just shady. It's misleading to customers. Not everyone is internet savvy. It seems like they are targeting people in the country that are, by using some of the words simple. I'm actually looking at the website now. Simple fitness, simple eating, fast results, right? These same claims that we see in everything. Simple, 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 fast, easy, like all these things, no pain, right? But we know that that's just not how it really works. So they're misleading people into misleading people into buying this product. And I feel they're preying off of people, as usual, that are desperate, that are trying to fix their lives, and making them believe that this is the system, and they're using all the tricks in the book to get people to purchase the product.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's unfortunately,
I know it's a business.
Fitness is it's inherently misleading and condescending, and it's meant to kind of pull wool over your eyes and hope that you don't realize what's really there. I don't like, I'm not really aware of if companies or people do post fake reviews. I'm not saying that this is a fake review. It's
I've
sketchy.
never seen a real review like that.
Who knows? Maybe it's somebody who makes money off of like referring people. So if you have a review website, again, this is just a guess on my part. I'm not saying that this is it. Maybe let's say if I'm an affiliate or something and I have a review website and I get a certain amount of dollars for everybody that signs up, maybe somebody outside somehow gets something out of it, so it's in their best interest to post a fake review that then gets people to sign up. I don't know, but it is sketchy that there are quite a few reviews out there that are not really, they're essentially just advertisements that call themselves reviews. I can't blame it on them, so I don't want to say they're involved in these unethical practices, and I really don't know how common this thing is. It's sketchy, but who knows? It's fitness, and it's what happens, and that is why we're here, why this podcast is here, why you should be listening to this podcast every week, because we do want to kind of expose some of these these dirty secrets within the fitness industry, because there are a lot of them, and try to be honest and skeptical and kind of keep you aware of what's going on. But well, let's see. What do you think? So on the BS meter, where do you rank this?
So in the BS meter from 1 to 10, I am going to give this a BS level of 7 because it does have some merits. Of course, most of which you can easily get on your own without having to purchase the product, and investing in something that will get your hopes up emotionally and then will most likely wind up getting tossed in the corner and wind up having you eventually just move on to the next thing. But there are a couple things. As I said, what I like best is that there's a website and that there are a few videos, there are a few things that are attached to it that help you keep with it. To me, that's the best aspect of it. The containers just seems it almost seems silly. like is it really something you can do? Can you just bring your containers with you wherever you go to a restaurant? Does it really make sense? Is it sustainable? I don't know. Is the fitness worth it? It's I've seen the videos. It's nothing that you haven't seen before if you've done any fitness. So while there being a couple merits, I feel that the majority of it is typical advertising, typical marketing for a fitness product, and I don't think that it will deliver the long-term results that people are looking for. So my BS meter from 1 to 10 is a 7 for the 21-day fix.
All right. On my BS meter, I'm going to give it a 5 on the BS meter. It definitely has a lot of those elements, the buzzwords. It's got the fast results and all that stuff. At the end of the day, it is a program that can be followed, and people, especially beginners or even beginner level, or anyone really, you can get some results with it, especially with the diet. If you have a really hard time controlling your diet, it's an easy way to control your diet. It is just like Weight Watchers, but with boxes, but it's still manageable. I don't see anything about it that where you can't get some results. The exercises, it is what it is. They're not anything spectacular, from what I could tell. At the same time, I don't like the name. I think the title is very misleading, so it definitely loses some points because of that. At the end of the day, I'd say about a 5, maybe a 6. I'll give it a 6 on my BS meter. So yeah, that's it. That's the.
Right. So definitely, stay tuned for future ChefSonic's I Smell BS, and of course, we love to hear your comments. So maybe I'm completely wrong, and maybe it's the godsend to dieting and fitness. If you've used this product and you're not an industry shill, please feel free to leave a comment. Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Or if you've had a negative experience with the product, let us know about that too. We'd really love to hear that. So thanks for listening, guys.
All right, that's it for today. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Leave reviews. It would be greatly appreciated. For any information, if you want to leave comments, if you want to follow us on Twitter or send us an email or anything, just check out our website, thegymwits.com. That has all of our information. And once again, I'm Ryan George.
I'm Justin Guild, a.k.a. ChefSonic.
And we are the
Gymwits.